Yo! Okay, so time for a new video. Okay, so I'm going to title this video Law J. Because I think, do you know what? Me and Law J, we go way back. Yeah, we've had arguments, but we've got this like little love-hate relationship. And yeah, I know he came to London but he was even around back when I was 22, before, he even started showing his face. And before he, had that brown avatar instead of the portrait of his face that he has now on his YouTube. Now, yeah, I think this is a good video to be dedicated to you. Every time I've gone on your channel in the past, I don't really go on it much anymore because it's just the same people, same arguments. You always promote positivity, positive mindset. Women are drawn to positivity, they're drawn to a positive mindset, and that's what gets people women. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that you're the only one guilty of spreading this lie and spreading this rumour. It's everywhere on the internet. You see people on multiple different forms on the internet claiming how women like confidence and positivity and all of these stuff that does not match with your real life experiences, so to speak. So I was actually sitting down yesterday thinking, where did this rumour come about? Was it just some guy that lives in his mum's basement that has never spoke to a woman, that just made up stuff and guessed what women like and guessed what women want, and then he put it out there and everyone just copied it? Because from my experiences, that seems very, very much what has happened, or something like that. So I was cooking some nice pork chops 2 days ago, and yeah, really nice. But then I started to feel a bit ill. I started to feel a bit dodgy, like I was coming down with a flu. So I went upstairs to lie down. Now, I went on my phone and I was looking at some of these women's numbers that I've got over the past 4-5 weeks, and a lot of them didn't reply. Some of them did. I'm not going to pretend that none of the women replied. Some of them did, but a lot of them never. So I thought, yeah, I want to do this little experiment. I'm going to see if I write a negative comment, a negative message to all of these women, and the message was, all women are evil, just to see how quickly they'd reply back to it, or how many of them rather would reply back to it. I literally sent that message, mate, and I was getting messages at 6 in the morning, 8 in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. Even when I came back from the butcher's, I went to the butcher's to get some food to cook. I come back and I was still getting the messages. That told me a lot of what women are actually like, because it's not as if you messaged 10 women and 3 or 4 of them reply, because then we can just say, it's not a gender issue. It's these women. Maybe they're young, immature. Maybe like they're just not nice people because they're not nice people, not because it's women. But the fact, by the end of that day, 90% of women were so fast to reply to a negative message, but to ignore a normal, nice one. It said a lot about what they're really about. Oh, so before sending that message, all women are evil, it was only one thing. I had said before that, like, hey, how's the hangover? How's your day going? All of the messages completely got ignored. Never got back to me, nothing. But as soon as I wrote the negative message, bam, they were there before you could say Jack Robinson. Start talking to me, Lord J. What is really going on here, buddy? Because my experiences, my life experiences are showing completely different. Now, we're going to get onto what they messaged back, because some of them were funny. But let me just start by saying, I was done with the dating game even before that. I just wanted to do a little experiment just to see. I was done. And to be honest with you, the reason was, it wasn't because them saying that I've got a boyfriend. Yeah, okay, it is annoying hearing it, but you're gonna hear it when you go out, drinking or approaching. You're gonna hear that, and to be honest with you, it's the quickest way to then just move on to the next person. That's a minor negative. That's just gonna happen, whether you like it or not. It was the fact when I started going on these dates and the ghosting, that's what really thought, nah, I'm not pursuing this no more. You know, this is too negative. So I went on a date last month, and you know, when I go live, I get people in the chat say to me, "Oh, like, are you making noises, or are you making these silly voices when you're going on these dates?" Basically suggesting that I don't take these dates seriously, and I'm purposely messing them up for myself. Let me give you a picture, right? So I had this foot injury here. It's 90% better now, and I had it for literally 5 weeks, and it's only just getting better. Now, when that woman said to me, "Oh, like, you know, let's meet up," so basically she approached me. She gave me her number. She was texting back every 2 minutes, wanted to meet me. So I was like, listen, my foot is hurting, but at the end of the day, as irresponsible and as silly as it sounds, we can't afford to lose any options in this country. When a woman wants to meet us, you know, you should meet them, you know, because it's hard to even get a date nowadays. It's hard to even get a response back, let alone a date. So I literally had to limp to that date, like, because my foot was like this. It was really painful. It was waking me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was a horrible, annoying injury, but I still managed to make it to the date. And I went on a date with her, and and then was talking. It was a Thursday, so I didn't really expect anything. Normal vibing. Like, I'm an outgoing person, anyways. I would say I'm an extrovert, and the vibe was good. You know, and she said to me half an hour, I think the date was like half hour, 40 minutes. I said, "Oh, well, when do you want to meet again," sort of thing. And she was like, "Oh, I don't really feel the vibe." I was like, "Huh?" I was in my head, I was like, wait, so you've approached me, you've gave me your number, you've travelled an hour to meet me, yet you're saying on the first date you don't feel the vibe. Let me give you a better picture, right? Or they'll say they don't feel the connection. We'll get onto that in a bit. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. At the end of the day, my interests are very universal. And if you don't know what that means, I'm an outgoing person with universal interests. So if I am to go on a date with somebody, it would take more than one date for somebody to claim they don't feel the vibe. Like, I've got, and when you get these experiences, you need to look at things like, how many friends do you have? How liked are you? Me, I've got loads of friends. I have people that look up to me. I have people that generally disbelieve me when I say I've gone out and I've had these women say they've got boyfriends, or I've been on a negative date. They genuinely don't believe me. That's like, what? You've got a good personality, you're outgoing, you're decent looking. And that tells me it has to be these women. Now, at the end of the day, right, that one was just wasting my time and her time. Even though it logically doesn't make any sense why she would do it, that is what she did. Illogical or logical, she done it. You know, at the end of the day, because let's put the shoe on the other foot. If you approached a woman who was, let's say average to above average looking, and she agreed to meet you, and you was both extroverts, you know, would you be saying how you don't feel the vibe? No, you wouldn't. You'd meet her again, probably meet her a third time, give her a chance. So it doesn't really ring right when there's an average guy to above average looking guy with interests, personality, and somebody claiming they don't feel the vibe. Now, that's not to say that I'm compatible with everyone and everyone should, you know, like me. No, of course not. I'll give you a prime example. Somebody that I wouldn't vibe with, okay, a vegetarian who's an introvert, who's a bookworm. Me and that person would not click because we're the polar opposites. I like traveling, I like going to places, I like all kinds of food, I like, you know, I've got hobbies, you know what I'm saying? So me and that person would not click from the get-go. But where, you know, when you're an extrovert and you meet another, or if they're an introvert, if you're an extrovert meeting another extrovert and you've got similar interests, that's enough to vibe with over, you know, to second, you know, even a second date. And then after that, I was so annoyed. I had my foot hurting me. It was a Thursday, I remember this. I was like, God, I'm pissed off because of this, because it was, to me, it was a taste of what my future dating life is going to be like if I continue with dealing with women in this country. It was like, you know, when someone cooks you like a curry and you taste a bit of the chicken before it's cooked. I don't like this. I don't like this taste. If this is what the taste of my future dating life is going to be like in this country. And and I'm trying to figure out what it is. Like, you're a light person, you're a normal person, you've got universal interests, universal taste buds. And I'm thinking that if it's somebody in London that agrees to go on a date with you, I would say they're either using you or they're using you to pass time. Now, I'm not going to say that every single woman is wasting your time on purpose, but, you know, with the whole, if they're in London, then they're probably just using you as a rebound, or they're using you. That's the only explanation. Or the third one being, which I have thought about this, is before these women go on these dates, they've got unrealistic expectations. Like, they probably got a video in their head of like some Romeo and Juliet type situation, and they want that and nothing less. And if you don't give them exactly what they expect, they claim they don't feel the vibe, they claim they don't feel the connection. Like, mate, I've been all over the country, I'm outgoing, I've got friends, you know, I have people that look up to me, as silly as it sounds. So it doesn't ring right. And even though I didn't really like the person, it was like, oh, this person is wasting my time. Oh, my foot is hurting. Like, I put so much effort into going on this date, all for somebody to just waste my time. So I was pissed off, to say the least. And then I thought, yeah, I really need to start thinking about Thailand now. And then literally I booked Thailand 3 months after, which is 2 months away from now. I was like, we really, really got to have a plan B here, because it is not working out in this country. So then I went out. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a break from this. So then I went out 2 days, sorry, not 2 days, 2 weeks after, and I met this woman. We were supposed to meet on the Friday, and literally by the third day, we was talking about our interest, seemed alright, and then bam, disappear. You never hear from them again. And I think that's the most annoying thing with the dating game is the ghosting and the time wasting on the dates. That's something that really gets to me. It's not even so much like the ignoring or like the boyfriend stuff. It is the ghosting and the time wasting on the dates, because it's just like, when is this going to end? And then she just ghosted. I was like, and I remember being at my mum's trying to recover from this foot injury. It was pounding me, this foot. I was like, oh no, not again. Another one's ghosted. I was like, yep, I'm looking forward to leaving this country. So yeah, like that, and that's why I booked Thailand. Now, anyways, onto the boyfriend thing. Yeah, it just popped into my head, right? I'm so sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, how do you know they don't have boyfriends? How do you know they don't have boyfriends?" Okay, let me explain this. Right now, there is 80% of men who are single, struggling with women, etc., etc., etc. Yet 95% of women that you approach claim they have boyfriends. The maths don't add up, right? And even when I used to go out drinking and going to bars and going to clubs, I would meet a lot of guys, decent guys, and they would all say, oh, I'm single. Some of them have never had a relationship. So you're meeting all these single people, but yeah, not every single woman, but most women are claiming that they've got a boyfriend. The maths ain't looking right. And when the maths don't add up, it don't add up. Not only that, okay, if you went out on the street right now and you approached 3 women and one of them said they had a boyfriend, I'd be like, okay, they might have a boyfriend. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Or 5 and 2, or, you know, then yeah, okay, obviously there were some people in relationships. But here's the thing, right? When you go to a nightclub and you see women that are dancing around in very revealing clothing until 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, claiming that they've got boyfriends. Come on, let's be realistic about it. What is Jack the lad, their boyfriend, doing when he comes home from work? What is he just sitting on Netflix in front of the TV watching popcorn whilst his missus is coming home at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning? Why is it that in these nightclubs their boyfriends are never with them? Because bear in mind, they're probably serial clubbers, you know, and I can speak from experience. Like, I've got sisters and they rarely go out, like rarely, like I would even say every 3 months. So if a woman is probably going out every week to a club, why is her boyfriend not with her? Is her boyfriend going to be happy about her coming home at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning? It's not looking right. And when something's not looking right, it don't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, it's not true. So in that context, you can say, yeah. And I'm not saying that, okay, I'm not saying that anyone that goes out for a drink doesn't, can't have a relationship, No, of course, people can go out for work drinks, 6, 7, 8, and go to Wetherspoons and still be in a relationship, 100%. But there is no way, as many women clubbing until the early hours of the morning that they do, have boyfriends as much as they say they do. Not a Scooby-Doo chance. No way. And, anyways, on to the replies that I got from the negative message that I sent 2 days ago. I had one say to me, she was trying to be nice, but she was trying to be clever. Like, this is another thing. Women will seem to argue with you if they think they're more intelligent than you. And then when you show like an ounce of intelligence, they literally just run away. Or they play victim. They could play victim. That's another thing they love doing. They're experts at that. She was like, I gave you my number, but I didn't expect you to ask me out. I was like, what? I was like, you're in a nightclub and you gave me your number. Because I messaged her, I said, well, it's funny how you replied to the negative message, but you don't reply you reply to the negative message, but you don't reply to the positive message. And she was basically saying that, I didn't expect you to ask me out. I was like, you gave me your number. And then she was like, I was looking for a room. So then I said, okay, well, if you're looking for a room, which she said she was looking for a room, to be fair, and I just told her I was a landlord. I said, well, why didn't you reply to the first message? It doesn't make any sense. And then she's like, I didn't want to get to know you like that. I was like, who do you think you're talking to? Like, I was actually eating with my friend the other day, and he was like, come and eat now. I was like, no. Who does she actually think she's talking to? Like, if you don't want to speak to someone or whatever, just write a message. It was nice meeting you, and just end it, or just say like you don't want to take things further. That's normal. That's completely normal. And most people, unless they're a psychopath, would be happy with that. But it's the entitlement. Like, who do they actually think they are trying to be intelligent to, and who do they actually think they're talking to? Because you're not talking to me like that. About I don't want to know you that way. Like, some of these women really need like a reality check. Like, I think they feel like they're much better than they are, but and then basically, and that was it. And then I just told her, like, you need to basically get that silver spoon out of your anus and stop thinking that you're better than people, basically. And then this one was the funniest one. So I don't think I told anyone about this on YouTube, to be honest. No, I don't think I did. I kind of started keeping things quiet in case people would find out the women I was speaking to. Anyways, I met this woman from Italy about 3 months ago. It was literally on the street like this in central London. And I was talking to her, and we spent about an hour together, walking around, spending an hour together. I was basically her tour guide. Went to the M&M shop. I said, do you want a key ring? I'll buy you a serviette. Just trying to be nice, sort of thing. And basically she was like, no, and then we just went around Chinatown. So there was a lot of context before me messaging her. It wasn't like, I got her number drunk and then she didn't reply. Now, I messaged her 3 months ago prior to this saying, hope you got home okay, like, how's your day going? Didn't even reply, which I thought is a bit cunty. Like, to spend an hour with somebody and being nice to somebody, I wasn't even expecting anything. I weren't expecting to see her again. I think I was just in a good mood, and she didn't even have the decency to even write back saying, I got home fine, it was nice meeting you. We would have never seen each other again. She lives in Italy. That there should tells you how entitled these women are, and how it's just crazy to even want to put yourself in a position again when you're speaking to women. Now, she was one of the people that I messaged, all women are evil, and she literally replied within an hour. And she wrote to me, and this is where she tried victimizing herself. She tried saying, I didn't want to lead you on. I was gonna message you, and that whole thing was, I was going to message you. when was you going to message me back? It's been about 3 months, mate. I think my message got left in the fucking in a Mexico cartel border, mate, because that was not getting replied to, mate. It was just stuck, lost in the Mexico transit, because that was not getting replied to. So another one, ignores a normal nice message and a nice person, but then replies to negativity. Now, how I acted with her, I think I made a good example and a good role model of these men actually do exist. These men that are not drug dealers, these men that are not covered in tattoos, these men that are not like domestic abusers actually do exist. And I showed her that, didn't expect anything from her, and she couldn't even reply back. That also says a lot, to be honest with you. And yeah, so I was like, well, you was going to reply, what, in another 9 months? It's been 3 months and then you've not replied to the message. And then she was basically saying about how, I didn't feel the connection, and I'm thinking, there was no dating thing about it. It was, I was your tour guide. You just had to message back. It wasn't a romantic thing. Not in my head, I was thinking anyways. I just thought being nice to someone, you know, I'm bored, let me have someone to speak to. So, and her saying that she doesn't feel the connection is actually victimizing herself. Trying to victimize herself, because what she's basically doing is she's trying to blame it on something that cannot be helped. See, I'm far more intelligent than people think I am. I don't like it when people underestimate my intelligence. But I don't want to underestimate my intelligence, but I don't want people to think I'm this person that just thinks they're more intelligent than they are, because we all know nobody can stand them people. So basically what she means by it, she's basically trying to blame something that cannot be helped, i.e. the connection, as to why she didn't reply to that normal, nice message that she ignored for 3 months, yet surprisingly replied as soon as I said that women are evil. And I basically said, okay, why don't you feel the connection? Let me just hear it, because it's somebody that lives international. Let's have a laugh. Let's hear, what is it this time? And she said to me that when you asked for my number initially at the start, I felt a bit uncomfortable. Now, I believe that. You've come to another country by yourself, someone's approached you on the street. Yeah, I generally believe that. Even sometimes I'm wary and I'm a man, so I don't think that she's lying about that initially. No, I generally do believe you wasn't comfortable. It's the street, it's London, you're here by yourself. I generally do believe at the start you was wary and you was uncomfortable about giving your number. Yeah, that's the truth. But what doesn't make any sense is that's nothing to do with a connection. What are you talking about? You giving your number is not whether you feel the connection or you don't feel the connection. That's the whole point of getting someone's number and then meeting them again. I asked you, why don't you feel the connection? That doesn't make sense. Yeah, you was uncomfortable at first, and probably for the first 15 minutes you was probably uncomfortable. But I feel like I achieved my goal at the end, that not all women are kidnappers, not all men are the R words, not all men are kidnappers, and not all men are going to drag you on the street and put you in their boot. I feel like I fully achieved that goal by the time that I left her, basically showing her that all men are not like the men that they go for. I have to say that the men that they go for, because they generalize these men, but these are the men that they choose and they go for, which I'll get on to in a minute. But so basically I feel like, yeah, you might have been uncomfortable for 15 minutes. You know, strangers approach you on the street. I fully much get it. But then at the end of the day, when she went back home, or went back to Italy, I think I messaged her 2 days later. This is an example. You should have got the point where I feel like I achieved my goal, and it's not what you thought it was, because everyone's going to be nervous at first, especially if a man's approaching them on the street. You did not even have the decency to reply back to that message. That says a lot about how selfish and how entitled these women are, and I feel like it is bad to ignore somebody when the context is like that. It doesn't matter if you approach somebody and you're drinking, you know, that's, if they don't reply, they don't reply. There's not much context for them to go by, but that's rude, especially when she was sober as well. And the other thing was, she then said, yeah, and then this is a lot of what these women do as well. It's like the same story over and over again. I don't even know where I am on walk so far. She said, I don't want to engage with somebody that has this mindset about women, or or misogyny. And I was thinking, love, that's the message that you reply back to. The only reason that you are engaging is because I sent that negative message. So that does not make any sense whatsoever. You're saying that you're not going to engage with somebody that says misogyny comments, this very comment that made you start engaging. And then she said, oh, I wish you the best. I was like, thank you, and I wish you the best, and I hope in the future that you don't have to feel the need to only reply to negative comments, because that nice comment, that was never get that nice message, that was never getting replied back to. Oh, did you get home okay? And as soon as I wrote something about women being evil, bam, they started engaging. Bam, they started messaging. Bam, they started with their bullshit. And then this, let me give you an example of what they'll do. So basically, anyone who's watching this, say you go out right now and you approach a woman on the street and she gives you a number, so for argument's sake, and you message her. She will ignore the nice message, she'll ignore the normal message, and as soon as you say anything negative, bam, they reply straight away, and they'll be like, oh, no wonder I didn't reply. It's a form of victimizing themselves. Even though she had no intentions of replying to the first message to begin with. That's why she hadn't replied in 3 months. But she was going to get around to doing it, she said, even though she hadn't messaged back in 3 months. They have no intentions of replying to normal, nice messages. Yet as soon as you send one negative message, bam, they reply straight away. Doesn't add up. You're saying that you don't want to engage with somebody that writes misogyny comments, yet you are engaging because of that comment. You have wrote me about 2 paragraphs since I have wrote that comment. So make it make sense. And on that note, I'm done for at least, where are we now? I say about 6 weeks. And that's why these breaks are very imperative, you know. And let's just say, anyone who's watching this, let's not sugarcoat this. Dating as a man is a negative. It's no different than gambling. It's no different than alcoholism. I don't think I've ever said that word before. It's no different than eating crappy food and becoming obese. It is a negative, and we shouldn't have to deal with it. You know, at the end of the day, the rubbish and the negative experiences that come with it. You know, it's actually crazy. Let's not sugarcoat it. It is a negative, and I think people need to start understanding that. And at the end of the day, right? I gave up like 2 months ago, and I was feeling my best. No mood swings, no pissed off moods, no nothing. I was like good as new. As soon as I started talking to women again, all the problems started again, which I'm going to end it on saying that people say all women aren't the same, all women aren't the same. Well, I'm 27 and I've never been shown any different. I'm 27, still relying on that person to show me that they're different. It's like people that say pigs fly. I've never seen a pig fly. Just like when people say women are different. Never seen a woman that's different. I messaged loads of people, one negative thing, and they replied straight away to it. And yet the positive message, it got lost in the Mexico transit border. I think that tells me a lot. And I think it tells you a lot about how many women actually reply to it. They ignore normal, nice messages for months and months and months, 3 months, normal, nice, kind-hearted people, but then they reply straight away to the negative messages. It's crazy, yeah? But on that note, I am taking a minimum. I personally don't think I'll ever try again in this country. With women. I generally don't think I just ever want to engage with them ever again because of all of these experiences. It's just a negative. And when something's a negative in your life, what do? You get it gone. Just like a normal person. I don't think I will. And it's so bad, I shouldn't even be saying this in case some younger people watching this, but I generally think they've ruined my sex drive. Like, I don't even get much of a sex drive anymore. I used to get like a really, we're not going to get into it, but now I don't even get one. It's crazy. It is actually a madness. Sad state of affairs, but anyways, Lord J, that's my video to you.